All right, guys, joining us right here in studio, another third-generation driver, 2016 and 2017 K&N West Series champion, and second year in the Cup Series. Welcome to the show, Todd Gilliland. First time guest.
Yep, it's been watching it. It's definitely really cool. I feel like you guys have grown this a lot, so it's really cool to be here and be a part of it.
Yeah, man, thanks for coming down here in studio after the off week. What'd you do with the weekend, with our one weekend off all season?
Yep, spent some time at the beach. Got a good sunburn too, peeling a little bit, but we went down to Cabo right from Sonoma, so really cool. Spend the week down there and right back to business up here.
You are kind of tanned up.
Thanks, dude. I was working on it out there.
Who'd you go down there with?
Went down there with Ricky Stenhouse, his wife, and then my wife. So it was actually funny. Zane Smith, Riley Herbst, a bunch of those guys were down there. So we met up with them for dinner. It seemed like there was a lot of racing people down there, so it was a lot of fun.
How many acres does Ricky have out there?
I don't know. I think it's 200, 300, something like that.
Okay, so why are you guys running on the side of 152? I totally forgot about that. I was like driving down 152 one day, and you guys are just like running down the side. There's no sidewalk. I'm like, you're going to get run over.
Yep. Sometimes I would like to get run over.
Put some context on that. So Ricky has Slide Job Ranch, which is essentially this big old built-out CrossFit gym, more or less.
Yep.
Right?
Well, so he lives there, and then he's got a gym there, and then a bunch of us work out there. Blaine Perkins, Riley, me, Leland Honeyman. I don't know his last name. That's kind of
racing
bad,
name too, Leland Honeyman.
Yeah, but it's cool. So we all work out down there. It's been really nice to get to know a bunch of guys. And on Thursdays, we go on our long run. We leave the compound up there, run on 152 for a little bit. That's the very beginning. So that's the part I would like to get hit by and not have to run.
Clip me with your mirror. Do it
early.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, true. On the way back, I'm like, nah, this is not the time I want to get hit. But yeah, we run like probably 6 miles on Thursdays, so those are painful ones for sure.
And that's that trainer Ryan. He used to be Casey Kane's guy, right?
Yep.
For a long time.
He's up there, and definitely pretty tough workouts, that's for sure.
Can you keep up with Stenhouse?
No. He's definitely the top of our gym still. So
yeah.
I think we're getting closer. I keep telling him like all of us are still on the way up, and he's probably at his prime or starting to go on the way down. So
a little trash talking.
Ooh.
Yeah. I mean, he trash talks us, so it's time we give it back to him.
You ever have Rich Froning coming there with you guys?
He actually did come there one time. I wasn't there that day, but
you wouldn't
he was there.
Keep up. You
no, I heard he's a pretty big guy, but I mean, I'm
he's
pretty
short.
jacked.
He's good. You know what? He's
damn good kickballer.
He's okay at kickball. Joey Logano, funny Froning story. Logano at the kickball classic. Joey's like, "Hey Skip, who the frick is this guy?" I said, "It's Rich Froning, bro." Who's that? I'm like, he's like the CrossFit guy. Oh, he's like CrossFit champion? I'm like, no, he's like the CrossFit guy.
So then he's like the Jimmy Johnson of CrossFit.
So then Joey tricked him into pitching to him, but it was really pitching
to Froning. It was pretty slick.
Froning kicked it out of the park.
It was pretty slick.
Speaking of kickball, I got invited this year, so I'm pretty pumped up to be going out there. So that'll be fun.
Were you not invited last year?
Nope.
I
mean, it's all good. You know, better late than never, right?
Well, I'm excited to have you, and I'm excited to have you right here in studio. So let's get down to business here and talk about some racing, shall we?
Well, let's do it.
So before we jumped on the show, Ryan asked you, how's Cup racing been? And you let off a similar sigh of combination of excitement and relief and grief all wrapped into one. So how's your Cup racing experience been a year and a half in?
Yeah, I think this year's definitely been quite a bit better than the last year. But it's also given me, a better appreciation for, running where we are. I'd say, mid-low 20s and, surviving. And sometimes you get a better finish than where you run. So, yeah, I think it's definitely really challenging. But it's been really fun to race against the guys I grew up, watching racing and even, the whole stacking pennies thing. I definitely understand, what that means now to just, even the results that people don't see.
Yeah.
There's a lot of small victories along the way. So it's cool, I think, right, as everyone would probably want to do. We want to be racing for wins, but there's definitely more to be gained out there, even further back in the pack.
So you are, like I mentioned before, you are a third-generation guy. Your grandfather Butch, your dad David, and now you are carrying the Gilliland torch, right? And doing it really in as much of a capacity as your dad did. And I know the relationship with my dad sometimes is tough to navigate. So how is it David, I think your dad's temperament's much different than my dad's temperament, though. So how is your dad and grandpa even kind of supporters of your career?
Yeah, I definitely think my dad is by far my biggest supporter. I'm sure from the first day I wanted to race, I don't feel like he ever really pushed me like, this is what you should do. I feel like I developed my own love for it, but he's definitely given me, every opportunity along the way, whether it's going out and getting a couple late models to go, start running stock cars, even to racing trucks against him. And when I was at KBM and he had his own truck team, that was an interesting dynamic for sure. But he's definitely always been there. And for now, it's really cool to see what they're building at Tricon Garage. And this is by far the most competitive that he's ever had a team. So it's really cool. I think he can be very successful in that. And he's always still goes the majority of the races and watches me, hangs out, listens to the radio, and he's got advice when I ask him for it, but he's definitely not like the pushy guy that we don't really ever get in fights or anything like that.
Must be nice.
Must be nice, yeah.
He actually spotted for me for both those championships on the West Coast, so I think that put us in a good spot to where I think we can listen to each other a little bit. So.
That's pretty cool. You mentioned KBM, and that was an interesting tenure there. And one of the all-time fire radioactive quotes, you win in Martinsville. And I want to know a little bit we're past the statute of limitations now because now you race against him. It's not like he's going to call you up and drive for that truck team again. So now you can tell us the story.
Good news is if
we can chop it up too
if we need to.
I want to know. Why you now? Here's the thing too. I've come across the start finish line after you win, and you're like, "F everybody," like this is for me. You came across very emphatically about your boss should stay in the motorhome. Where did that came from? Deep down too. There's some pissed off Todd Gilliland in that radio transmission.
Yeah, there definitely was. I definitely not my proudest moment. And hey, you're right. You wish you could have some stuff back, but. Yeah, I mean, that was just really frustrating, right? I feel like, we came off the 2 K&N West championships as a young kid, probably more confident than you should be. And, I mean, honestly, I probably expected myself going to a good team that we could go out and win races and definitely compete much better than we did. So I was extremely frustrated. And honestly, at the end of 2019 when that was, like, I didn't really know what else I was going to do. I knew my deal with Toyota was probably going to be coming to an end. And just really frustrating and just crazy how fast things could change. I feel like in my mind, there's a lot of things going on. Just overall frustration, right? With probably myself, the whole situation. I was wishing that our trucks would be better. Just sometimes, right, you don't feel like you're getting listened to. And I feel it's just, kind of the normal racing frustrations that, a younger me definitely let it get the best of me.
So
sure.
What have you changed or adjusted or maybe matured in those areas of, like, when you look back, or how different are you as a person or a race car driver since then?
Yeah, that's the crazy thing is, like, I feel like I'm always been a pretty calm race car driver, but I think all of us, right, have a fiery side once you get down deep enough. But I would say it's just maturity. I think, like I said, going into those years, like I just expected to win kind of, and I definitely learned that it's tough. You have to really have everything go right, but also really appreciate, right, kind of the journey. And then when you do have success, that really how sweet it is.
How was the Monday morning meeting?
Oh, boy.
Oh, I don't know. So I talked to him a bunch that week. Like, I called him. I'll never forget, like, next day or maybe 2 days after, and I see Kyle Busch, like, pop up on my phone. I'm like,
oh, no. You get that pit of your stomach feel. Like,
yeah. Pretty much had it, right? Like, definitely the whole week after.
Because you knew you messed up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
damn, and I wish I missed the button on that one.
Yeah.
Well, it's pretty much just sitting there staring at my phone.
You should have declined it.
No, gosh, dude. That's when you just,
Oh, yeah.
hopefully just can jump out of the hole that you've already dug.
Is it the toughest conversations you anticipated, or was he pretty cool about it?
I mean, it was pretty tough. I feel like I was just, honestly, just super embarrassed by it all, right? Like, I felt like he was honestly very understanding of everything, right? I feel like, maybe even some other guys, right? Like, he knows the frustration and the, push of the button, right? It goes everywhere. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. I feel like he could kind of understand that part, but obviously, just for me, it was mostly apologizing and, and like you said, at that point, we both knew we were going to go our separate ways.
Yeah.
So, Yeah, I don't know. Definitely, like I said, one thing I wish I had back.
That's the tough part, though, like, of racing, is you get into, like, the day-to-day, and people don't see what's going on behind closed doors, but
the pressures and the expectations and just
tend to forget that you are one key of the microphone away from going viral, right? Yeah. Like, and that's what people remember about that. Like, that's where if you have a bad day, it could be on Sports Center, right? Yeah. And like when you get into the routine of going to the racetrack, maybe you're not running so good, you don't think about that until it happens. You're like, oh boy.
Yeah.
Yep. That happened fast for sure. Yeah. Like you said, you feel like you're right. Just talking to your team. I feel like all of us were frustrated.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely can feel like a closed room you're speaking in, but it's out there, that's for sure.
For sure. Everybody's scanning. We talked about, so Ryan Truex came in and we were talking about having you got the button that everybody can hear, then you have a button only you can hear. Because you could have said that, and if you knew that if you didn't hit the button, it just wouldn't feel as good, right? So you need a button where you can just scream at it to yourself, and then you just feel much better. So you
like the spotters when they have the microphone where they can hear themselves.
Yeah, that's what drivers need sometimes.
Yeah.
But nobody else can hear it. That's what we need.
Closed circuit.
I mean, you ever let a good scream in your helmet?
Yes, dude.
Dude, I was at the Snowball Derby with him one time. I thought he got murdered in the car. I'm like, what happened?
What happened?
You said, I quote, you had hit somebody on the restart. You didn't realize you came nose in, and you were going backwards, and you said, we're dog like that. And I was like, yeah, does he? Okay.
And I'm not saying –
and you drove on the fence.
I'm not saying like a little bit of scream. I'm talking like
as loud as you can scream. Yeah.
Just let it
catch
out.
Your breath for a lap after that.
Yeah. Like sometimes you got to do that. Something like if I there's a caution come out or something, and like you're the car that just didn't get the lucky dog or something, I'll let it rip, bro. I mean,
yep. You got to.
That's it. Like there is a lot of pressures and a lot of like money and like all the things that are the pressures of the job. That if it doesn't bounce your way, man, you're like, if you're not pissed off about it, then what are you even doing?
Yep, exactly. I feel like that's one thing that we were talking about before we started. Ryan Bergini, my new crew chief, like he's really pushed me like to a new level, right? Of all that stuff, right? Of just the constant pursuit of being, as perfect as we can be. And that's it's a tough journey for sure, but it's a good one for sure too.
So you win that race in Martinsville. You and KBM go separate ways, kind of in limbo. And then you link up with Bob Jenkins in Front Row Motorsports, kind of get a lot of success going the following year. Then you find your way into a Cup car. So then you get linked up with, I think, a really good teammate, underrated guy, Michael McDowell, to kind of show you what it is to be a Cup driver, because he's seen it from the bottom and he's seen it from the top. So what are some things that you've learned from Michael as a teammate that's helped you grow a little bit?
Yeah, I think that's one relationship that I feel like is really, really good and was really unexpected. I kind of grew up and was around Michael a little bit here and there. So I feel like it's really cool that I feel like he's almost taken me under his wing in a way he definitely didn't have to. So, it's been awesome. He's super helpful, understanding of everything. And really, I feel like he's just pushing, Front Row as a whole. And just to see what he's done there with multiple crew chiefs the last few years, I think it's awesome. I think he does a really good job too. But yeah, like I said, it's a relationship that I didn't really expect to have as good as I have it. And it's definitely one that, I'll miss someday when we're definitely not teammates.
Well, that kind of brings up the next point here. Partial schedule this year. You and Zane are sharing that 38 car, which can't be easy, right? But you're making the most of it, driving for Rick Ware as well. How is that? I don't think people realize the challenges that come with an inconsistent just preparation, inconsistent people, because you've been bouncing back and forth between the 15 and the 51, whichever one they need a bump in points. So how has that approach changed for you this year?
Yeah, it's definitely a different situation. Probably not ideal. And that was probably another moment, right, when you're like kind of just frustrated, disappointed. But I feel like it's really given me a different point of view on everything too, right? It gives me more of a respect for, what the Rick Ware guys are doing, and really just really appreciative to, feel like even before the season, before we started running a little bit better this year, that, they were really happy to have me there and felt like I could help and bring something to the team. And that's good to feel, right? That's not like that all the time. So I think that's the biggest thing for me. It's given me better aspect of what, is out there and what to do. But and also just with the next gen car, right? Not many people have gotten to see what other teams are doing, and just the experience a little bit different. But yeah, for me, I'm just trying to go about it the best way I can. Talk to as many people as I can in the garage, and I feel like that's helped build more relationships this year.
So how did you run at Phoenix? I think I remember something from Phoenix. Did you have a rough day in Phoenix?
I had a really rough
So
day.
I remember you guys, we were parked on the backstretch, and I was looking at the notes here, and you and Harrison on NASCAR's YouTube channel have a series called Fast Friends, and I remember Harrison had a rough day too, I think, and you guys parked in front of our pit stall, and you're like the last two on the grid, and you both got out and looked at each other like, what the was that? Like, that's what it looked like. Like, oh, okay, we're going to have to reconsider what we're doing for a living here. That was like the look you guys gave each other.
I do that every Sunday night when I get home.
Corey he's gotten out of the car in front of my pit box and looked at me like, don't even look at me, bro. But
man.
how? First off, touch on Fast Friends a little bit, and then your friendship with Harrison, how you guys have navigated, moving up to the Cup Series together.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I think with Harrison, it's kind of started out as like a rivalry in the K&N ranks. We were racing against each other. He ended up winning the championship. I was leading the points, blew a tire, and he ended up winning it, but we were battling the whole year, I think in 2017. So that was probably the peak of our rivalness. And then as soon, right away the next year, we were teammates at KBM and went through, all that stuff we just talked about together. So that definitely brought us really close, I think. Just seeing what each other could do. I feel like we always believed in each other, and went through some tough times, and yeah, like you said, sometimes there's still tough times. There's still a lot of good times too. And so doing that YouTube series is a lot of fun. We've went golfing, kicked some field goals last week. I think that's going to come out soon. So just hoping to get our personalities out there a little bit more, because like you said, racing can be frustrating at times, and you don't always see the best of a person. So hopefully we can push that out there a little bit more.
I like that.
Is it true that you drink lemon drop martinis?
Oh, I love lemon drop martinis. Oh my God! I forgot about that, dude.
Well, hang on. Only 20,000 people listen to this podcast. Not many people know. So Kelly and I are eating a steak 48 a couple weeks ago, and you came in. What's your wife's name? Marissa. And y'all kind of sat behind me, next room over, and Kelly's like, "Hey, I think there's a lemon drop martini over there, and it's not his wife's." I was like, "That's some bitches drinking lemon drop martinis." Man. I can respect that. And coming from
a guy that likes fruity drinks.
This
guy likes whiskey and neat here, like he's some sort of hard ass. Right. Can appreciate a good tasting drink.
That's the other funny thing about me and Harrison. It's the same thing. Like, I drink the fruity drinks. He always gets like bourbon and stuff like that. I'm like, dude, that doesn't taste good. Come on, just man up.
You tell yourself that it tastes good, though.
I can't do it.
Dude, it can't, though.
I can't.
That was kind of a weird stretch. I had seen you at dinner like a couple times in a row.
I know.
So, did you send the Shirley Temple over to my table?
Maybe.
Like, how did you even know about that, too?
It was a guess. I think it was a guess, wasn't it?
Huh?
Was it a guess that you sent him a Shirley Temple? Like, making fun of your age, man.
Yeah.
So young. It was just a guess. Because I had went to a sponsor dinner the year before. And a bunch of my team guys just gave me so much crap because it was like the night before a race, so I wasn't going to get a lemon drop. So I just got a Shirley Temple instead. And he got me a shirt that says like the Shirley Temple King and a bunch of stuff. So I thought like you somehow knew about that.
No.
I was like, what? That is so random.
We were at California and it was raining, right? And we raced on Monday, so all day Sunday was a washout. It was me, Todd Gilliland, and Bellacourt. I run into those guys. And we're sitting there, and Kurt's there just hanging out by himself, some other people mingling, and he comes over, and he saw some people that he knew, different teams or whatever, and he got some Shirley Temples ordered. And it's kind of like here's a drink, but like not really a drink, like ha.
Joke.
Yeah.
So, right? And the waiter brought it to the wrong table, and it was like a table like biker dudes.
Oh, boy.
And one of the guy, probably 6'3", all tatted up, stood like off of Kurt's left shoulder, and Kurt was sitting at our table at the time, and it was like, "Bro, did you get me this Shirley Temple?" And Kurt was talking, like telling a story, and he was like, it was like 3:00 in the afternoon. He was a couple in. He was like, he didn't really hear.
It was rain out Sunday.
It was rain out, right? And he's not even driving anymore. He's just there to be a fan.
Yeah.
The guy asked twice, "Sir, did you get me this Shirley Temple?" And Kurt was like looked behind him, looked him up and down. I was like, Oh. I'm like, no. We sent it to the wrong table. I'm sorry. Like, it was supposed to go to those guys, not you burly-looking gentleman. That guy was about 2 seconds away from dumping a Shirley Temple on Kurt's head.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It was going to be big.
I thought it was going to end with like man, I love Shirley Temple.
See, dude, it's like those guys. They're just not to the point where they can accept it. A good Shirley Temple is pretty tasty.
You should have tried it.
Shirley Temples are tasty. But, I mean, you probably won't see me in public drinking one, though. I'll drink. I'm going to get some grenadine out and dump it in some Sprite. But I probably won't order that. So you're the Shirley Temple king.
I mean, not really. I mean, that's not even really my thing. It happened one time, and then.
No, anytime people see you out, man, order the man a Shirley Temple. We appreciate it.
If you listen to this podcast,
get my man a Shirley Temple.
And you see Todd Gilliland at dinner, or lunch, or breakfast, order him a Shirley Temple.
Yes. All right, hey, we got 3 questions every guest. No matter if you're a driver, we asked these to Jake Owen the other day too. We've tailored them to everybody and usually get some good feedback here. If you had to pick one car and one racetrack the rest of your life, what do you go with?
I don't know. I feel like I always had a lot of fun in the K&N cars at Iowa. I think,
yeah,
it was a lot more fun in the truck there because you could just.
It was more fun than the truck.
Correct. Yep. Yeah, truck you just can't really get sideways. And in the K&N cars, it was so fun running right up by the wall, or kind of top lane, not right up by the wall. But that was my first time kind of running a racetrack like that, and it's for those things, it's more of like an intermediate type feel. So I think that was always one of my favorites for sure.
Dude, I wish Cup cars would go to Iowa once.
Could you imagine how rough our cars would be around there now? Holy,
they're rough anywhere, bro. It's smooth or rough. I'm gonna add a question here I'm gonna lean into that third generation aspect here. So if you had to pick one car and one racetrack to race your dad and your grandfather in their prime, where do you go, and who wins?
Ooh, wow.
They're both West Coast guys too, right?
Let me go first because I'll answer. I haven't really thought about this until just now. Big Rand and Don LaJoie, I would take it to their home turf. I'd go a modified at Stafford just because that's probably the majority of all of them where they've spent the most time because Danbury's not active anymore. And I don't know. I feel like I could smoke my dad. No problem. 75 greatest drivers, I'd work him over. I'd give him the Nerf bar early. And then I don't know, I think Don would be tough.
Don would beat you up if you gave him the Nerf bar.
He would beat me up.
Your dad would just give you a stern talking to.
Yeah, that's right. He'd just be disappointed, but I'm used to that.
That's awesome.
I'd like to think I'd be able to get Pepe at the line, but I don't know. He's in the New England Auto Racing Hall of Fame, man. He wasn't a slouch. And I think race car driving's different nowadays. Than it was. It was a little more gentlemanly back then, because guys are working on their stuff, and you can get hurt if you wreck somebody. I think it's just a little different.
Yeah,
the aggression level.
Sure. It's definitely interesting, right, to see how it changes, and it's what makes it tough, right, to compare kind of eras of NASCAR, all that stuff. But yeah, I think from your question, I think, like you said, going back to like Irwindale Speedway on the West Coast, I ran there a couple times. I actually did run against my dad and grandpa there in a super late model race. Back in the day, I wish I could redo it. I was 14 at the time, so I think I could get a little bit better of them now.
Did you beat them then?
I actually ended up beating them both, but my dad got in a wreck. He was actually way faster, but I think I could take him now, so yeah, that'd be cool.
So you pick a super late at Irwindale?
Yeah, I think super late model. I've never been actually any good at all in a super late model, but I want to give that one a try.
Okay.
I got a question I got to ask before we get further into these. What was it like as a kid with your dad racing the M&M car?
That was
How
awesome.
many M&Ms did you eat?
No, we seriously had probably just what you would think, like a whole spare bedroom of every candy that they make, like the whole Mars company. It was awesome. So
I totally forgot about that until we started. I was like, man.
How many years did you drive that thing?
I'm not sure. A few. I think maybe 2 or 3, but it was definitely incredible.
Yeah, that pirate sponsorship, whatever that purple car was he in that thing?
Oh yeah, I think it was like Free Credit Report.
Everybody was wearing pirate outfits at Bristol one time. But yeah, that Mars car. Yeah, I can only imagine. Cool. A lot of sugar in the Gilliland household.
So my dad was sponsored by Kool-Aid. They were an associate sponsor back 2000, 99, and we had a shed literally outside the house to the roof of cases of Kool-Aid. And I would go back there, and one of those plastic bottles, you crack the tops, bro, cases at one time, just sugar water to the dome.
You love that, dude. It's a kid's dream, right?
I mean, I was in heaven.
Exactly.
Literally in heaven. All right. I know you have a lot of you've won a lot of races. made a lot of racing memories, but if you had to lose all of them and keep just one racing memory, what do you keep?
I think probably my first Daytona 500 last year. I think, like I said, there's a lot of good memories from there of, with my family when my dad was racing. But I think it was really special for me to experience it on my own last year for my first one and still have all the same people there. Just kind of, switched what job we were doing. So having my mom, dad, sister, tons of family there. I think that's one memory that's probably always going to be the coolest for me.
What about it?
I think just all the pre-race stuff, right? Like you get tons of practice. Well, last year we did. And then it seems like, you're as prepared as you could possibly be for the race on Sunday, but it still just flies by. I feel like, just the flyover is amazing there too. Like kind of basic planes, but just how they go like super low right over the top, right there at Daytona, I think. And for me, Daytona's always just been a really awesome racetrack for the 500, but it's always one that I remember, like, we get out of school on Friday and just drive down there, right, for a fun weekend. It's always one I grew up watching. I thought my dad could have a chance at winning at. So I think for all those reasons, I think Daytona's always really special to me.
It is a special place. Man, you roll through the tunnel there, and it's like Disney World.
This is it. This is the place.
This is the place. And what is the most embarrassed you've ever been at the racetrack?
Oh, man, I think we already talked about it. I think, actually, man, I've done some embarrassing stuff. But I think probably Martinsville was embarrassing kind of after the race. I don't know. I feel like even just Charlotte, when I wrecked and I was like 6 laps down, was pretty embarrassing. But there's tons of them, man. I feel like they come and go, right? It's easy to keep topping yourself.
Like Ted Lasso said, man, you could be a goldfish. You got to forget about them things.
Right.
Well, man, I appreciate you coming down here and being a guest on the podcast. I'm sure the fans are going to love hearing from you, somebody they don't hear a lot of during the broadcast, like myself. So we're trying to tell the story. Keep up the good work, man. You're crushing it. Good luck the rest of the season. Good luck this weekend in Nash Vegas.
Yep. Should be fun. Hopefully, me and you can keep overachieving, right, for our teams.
We are trying. Just 1 week at a time, man, stacking pennies. And more stacking pennies coming right up right after this.